griping grieves the heart would wound, and doleful dumps the mind oppress. Then music with her silver sound is wont with speed to give redress. A troubled mind for every soul, sweet music hath a salve therefore. In joy it makes our mirth abound, in grief it cheers our heavy sprites. The careful head relief hath found by music's pleasant sweet delights. Our senses, what should I say more, are subject unto music's law.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Shakespeare in Italy. We are Justin Butcher,
Caroline Faber,
and Daniel Zappi,
J Productions, Milan. And on behalf of our producer, Julia Holden, and the Volterra International Festival Teatro Romano, we're delighted to welcome you to this celebration of Shakespeare's Italian plays.
William Shakespeare had a love affair with Italian culture, and more than a third of his plays are set in Italy, including some of his greatest: Romeo and Juliet, The Merchant of Venice, Othello.
Renaissance Italy, Shakespeare's Italy, was an incredible melting pot of cultural diversity, drawing travelers and traders, artists and scholars from all over the Mediterranean world and beyond.
From Marco Polo to Christopher Columbus, Italian merchants and explorers had traveled to the ends of the world, from east to west. In The Merchant of Venice, a young Venetian nobleman, Bassanio, is in love with the wealthy heiress, Portia, and he needs 3,000 ducats to finance his expenses.
He asks his friend Antonio, a wealthy merchant, for a loan, but all of Antonio's ships are bound for voyages to Tripoli, Mexico, England, and the East Indies. So, to help his friend, Antonio agrees to act as guarantor for a loan.
And Bassanio turns to Shylock, a wealthy Jewish moneylender.
$3,000 ducats. Well.
Aye, sir, for 3 months.
And for 3 months. Well.
For the which, as I told you, Antonio shall be bound.
May I speak with Antonio?
If it please you, dine with us.
Yes, to smell pork, and to eat of the habitation which your prophet the Nazarite conjured the devil into. I will buy with you, sell with you, talk with you, walk with you, and so following, but I will not eat with you, drink with you, nor pray with you.
Ah, what news on the Rialto?
Who is he comes here?
This is Signor Antonio.
How like a fawning publican he looks. I hate him, for he is a Christian, but more for that. In low simplicity, he lends out money gratis and brings down the rate of usance here with us in Venice. If I can catch him once on the hip, I'll feed fat the ancient grudge I bear him. He hates our sacred nation, and he rails even there where merchants most do congregate on me, my bargains, and my well-won thrift, which he calls interest. Cursed be my tribe if I forgive him. Rest you fair, good signor, your worship was the last man in our mouths.
Shylock, albeit I neither lend nor borrow by taking nor by giving of excess, yet to supply the ripe wants of my friend, I'll break a custom. Is he yet possessed? How much you would?
3,000 ducats. 'Tis a good round sum. 3 months from 12, and let me see, the rate.
Well, Shylock, shall we be beholding to you?
Signor Antonio, many a time and oft in the Rialto you have rated me about my monies and my usances. Still have I borne it with a patient shrug, for sufferance is the badge of all our tribe. You call me misbeliever, cutthroat dog, you spat upon my Jewish gabardine, and all for use of that which is mine own. Well then, it now appears you need my help. Go to then. You come to me and you say, Shylock, we would have monies. You say so. You that did void your room on my beard and foot me as you spurn a stranger cur over the threshold. Monies is your suit. What should I say to you? Should I not say, hath a dog money? Is it possible a cur can lend 3,000 ducats? Or shall I bend low and with bated breath in a bondman's key with whispering humbleness say this? Fair sir, you spat on me on Wednesday last, you spurned me such a day, another time you called me dog, and for these courtesies I'll lend you thus much monies.
I am as like to call thee so again, to spit on thee again, to spurn thee too. If thou wilt lend this money, lend it not as to thy friend, but to thine enemy, who if he break, thou mayest with better face exact the penalty.
Why, look you how you storm. I would be friends with you and have your love. Forget the shames that you have stained me with, supply your present wants, and take no doit of usance for my monies, and you'll not hear me. Go with me to a notary, and seal me there your single bond, and in a merry sport, if you repay me not on such a day, in such a place, such sum or sums as are expressed in the condition, let the forfeit be nominated for an equal pound of your fair flesh, to be cut off and taken in what part of your body pleases me.
Content in faith, I'll seal to such a bond.
You will not seal unto this bond for me. I would rather dwell in my necessity.
Do not worry. My ships will come in.
To buy his favor, I extend this friendship. If he will take it, so. If not, adieu. And for my love, I pray you, wrong me not.
I like not fair terms in a devil's mind.
Come on. In this there need be no dismay. My ships come in a month before the day.
Unfortunately for Antonio, his ships do not come in a month before the day, as we discover in Act 3, Scene 1.
When Salanio
And Salario,
Two friends of Bassanio and Antonio
are discussing the latest maritime news.
Meanwhile, Shylock's daughter Jessica has eloped with Lorenzo, another friend of Bassanio and Antonio, and she has converted to Christianity. She has taken with her a substantial portion of Shylock's wealth, including a turquoise ring given to him by his late wife, Leah.
Now what news on the Rialto?
why yet it lives there unchecked, that Antonio hath a ship of rich lading, racked upon the narrow seas, a very dangerous flat and fatal. If my honest gossip be an honest woman of her word, I would it might prove the end of his losses.
I'll say amen betimes, lest the devil come in my prayer, for here he comes in likeness of a Jew. How now, Shylock? What news among the merchants?
You knew, none so well as you, of my daughter's flight.
That's certain. I, for one, knew the tailor that made the wings she flew withal.
My own flesh and blood.
There is more difference between thy flesh and hers as between jet and ivory. more difference between your blood and hers than between red wine and Rhenish. But tell us, do you know whether Antonio hath made any loss at sea?
There I have another bad match, a bankrupt, a prodigal who dare scarce show his head on the Rialto, a beggar that was used to come so smug upon the mart. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to call me usurer. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to lend money for a Christian kersey. Let him look to his bond.
Why, I'm sure if he forfeit, thou wilt not take his flesh. What's that good for?
To bait fish withal. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. He hath disgraced me and hindered me 500,000, laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, cooled my friends, heated mine enemies. And what's his reason? I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions, fed by the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we are like you in the rest, we will resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance be by Christian example? Why, revenge. The villainy you teach me, I will execute. And it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction. Now, the scene moves to Portia's home in Belmont. By the terms of her father's will, any potential suitors must take part in a kind of lottery, choosing between 3 caskets made of gold, silver, and lead. The correct casket contains a portrait of Portia, and the suitor who chooses it will marry her and share her wealth. The princes of Morocco and Aragon have already chosen wrong caskets and are out of the contest. Now, it's Bassanio's turn.
I pray you tarry. Pause a day or two before you hazard. For in choosing wrong, I lose your company. Therefore, forbear a while. There's something tells me, but it is not love. I would not lose you. And you know yourself, hate counsels not in such equality. Lest you do not understand me, and yet a maiden hath no tongue, but thought. I would detain you here a month or two, before you venture for me. I could teach you how to choose right. But then I am forsworn. So will I never be. So may you miss me. But if you do, you'll make me wish a sin, that I had been forsworn. Beshrew your eyes. They have o'erlooked me and divided me. One half of me is yours. The other half Yours. Mine own, I would say, but if mine, then yours, and so all yours. Oh, these naughty times puts bars between the owners and their rights. So though yours, not yours, prove it so. Let fortune go to hell for it, not I. I speak too long, but 'tis to appease the time, to eke it, and to draw it out in length, to stay you from election.
Let me choose, for as I am, I live upon the rack.
Upon the rack, Bassanio? Then tell me what treason there is mingled with your love.
Promise me life, and I'll confess the truth.
Well then, confess and live.
Confess and love had been the very sum of my confession. Oh, happy fortune, when my torturer doth teach me answers for deliverance. But let me to my fortune and the caskets.
Wait then. I am locked in one of them. If you do love me, you will find me out. Let music play while he doth make his choice. Then if he lose, he makes a swan-like end, fading in music, that the comparison may stand more proper. My eye shall be the stream and watery deathbed for him. He may win. And what is music then? Then, music is even as the flourish when true subjects bow to a new crowned monarch. Such it is, as are the dulcet sounds in break of day that creep into the dreaming bridegroom's ear and summon him to marriage. Go, Hercules. Live thou, I live. With much more dismay I view the fight than thou that makes the fray.
Tell me, where is fancy bred? Or in the heart, or in the head? How begot,
How nourished,
it is engendered in the eye, with gazing fret and fancy dies. In the cradle where it lies, let us all ring fancy's knell. I'll begin it. Ding dong bell, ding dong bell.
Shakespeare's other great Venetian play, of course, is Othello, another tale of an immigrant stranger whose fortunes bring him to the great seafaring republic, the merchant empire, the melting pot of Venice.
Othello is black, a Moorish general in the Venetian army and the greatest military commander in the region. The play begins with the discovery of Othello's secret marriage to Desdemona, who is the daughter of a rich Venetian senator, Brabantio. The enraged father summons Othello to appear in front of the Duke of Venice, accusing him of witchcraft for beguiling Desdemona into marriage. Calmly, Othello explains how, as a guest at Brabantio's house often, he'd be invited to tell the stories of his adventures, upon which Desdemona fell in love with Othello.
Of course, Othello should be played by a black actor, but we wanted to share with you just a little extract of some of the wonderful poetry which Shakespeare gives this extraordinary character to say in this wonderful play. So you'll have to make do with me. Her father loved me, oft invited me, still questioned me the story of my life from year to year, the battles, sieges, fortunes that I have passed. I ran it through even from my boyish days to the very moment that he bade me tell it, wherein I spake of most disastrous chances, of moving accidents by flood and field, of hairbreadth escapes in the imminent deadly breach, of being taken by the insolent foe and sold to slavery, of my redemption thence and portents in my travels' history, wherein of Anta's vast and deserts idle, rough quarries, rocks, and hills whose heads touch heaven, it was my hint to speak. Such was the process. And of the cannibals that each other eat, the anthropophagi, and men whose heads do grow beneath their shoulders. All this to hear would Desdemona seriously incline, but still the house affairs would call her thence. Whichever as she might with haste dispatch, she'd come again, and with a greedy ear devour up my discourse, which I, observing, took once a pliant hour to draw from her a prayer of earnest heart, that I would all my pilgrimage dilate, whereof by parcels she had something heard, but not intentively. I did consent, and often did beguile her of her tears, when I did speak of some distressful stroke that my youth suffered. My story being done, she gave me for my pains a world of sighs. She swore, in faith, 'twas strange, 'twas passing strange, 'twas pitiful, 'twas wondrous pitiful. She wished she had not heard it, yet she wished that heaven had made her such a man. She thanked me and bade me, if I had a friend that loved her, I should but teach him how to tell my story, and that would woo her. Upon this hint I spoke. She loved me for the dangers I had passed, and I loved her that she did pity them. This only is the witchcraft I have used. Here comes the lady. Let her witness it.
the Duchess. Of sweet harmony, harmony, sweet harmony, 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 harmony.
Iago is Othello's right-hand man, his ancient or junior officer. Cassio, a high-born Florentine, has been promoted to the rank of Othello's lieutenant over Iago's head, and Iago hates him. Now the scene shifts to Cyprus after a victorious sea battle with the Turkish fleet. Iago first gets Cassio drunk, then tricks him into a brawl with some of the other officers. Othello appears, stops the fight, and sacks Cassio from his rank of lieutenant. Cassio is devastated. What? Are you hurt, Lieutenant?
Aye, sir, beyond all surgery.
Marry, God forbid.
Reputation! Reputation! I have lost my reputation. I have lost the immortal part of myself, and all that remains is bestial. My reputation, Iago. My reputation.
As I am an honest man, I thought you'd receive some bodily hurt. There's more sense in that than in reputation. Reputation is an idle and most false imposition, oft got without merit and lost without deserving. You have lost no reputation at all unless you repute yourself such a loser. What, man? There are ways to recover the general again.
I shall ask him for my place again. He shall call me a drunk. But to be a perfectly sensible man, by and by a fool, and presently a beast. Every inordinate cup is unblessed, and the devil is the ingredient.
Oh, come. Good wine is a good familiar creature if it be well used.
I a drunk.
You or any man living may be drunk at a time, man. I'll tell you what you will do. Our general's wife is now the general. Confess yourself freely to her. Importune her help to put you in your place again. She is of so free, so apt, so kind, so blessed a disposition. She holds it a vice in her goodness not to do more than she's requested. This crack of your love betwixt you and her husband, entreat her to splinter, and my fortunes against any lay worth naming, this broken joint shall grow stronger than it was before.
You advise me well.
I confess in the sincerity of love and honest kindness.
I do think it sincerely, and in the morning I shall beseech the virtuous Desdemona to undertake for me. I am desperate for my fortune if they check me here.
You are in the right. Good night, Lieutenant.
Good night, honest Iago.
And what's for the watch? And what's he then that says I play the villain when this advice is free I give and honest, probable to thinking, and indeed the course to win the Moor again? For 'tis most easy the inclining Desdemona to subdue in any honest suit. She's framed as fruitful as the free elements. And then for her to win the Moor again, Were it to renounce his own baptism, all seals and symbols of redeemed sin, his soul is so infettered to her love that she may make, unmake, do what she list, even as her appetite shall play the god with his weak function. How am I then a villain to counsel Cassio to this parallel course directly to his good? Divinity of hell. When devils will their blackest sins put on, they do protest at first with heavenly shows, as I do now. For whilst this poor fool plies Desdemona to repair his fortunes, and she for him pleads strongly to the Moor, I'll pour this pestilence into his ear, that she repeals him for her body's lust. And by how much she strives to do him good, she shall undo her credit with the Moor. So will I turn her virtue into pitch, and out of her own goodness make the net that shall enmesh them all.
With great subtlety, Iago plants the idea into Othello's mind that Desdemona is a bit too friendly with Cassio, and Othello becomes really suspicious. Then Desdemona drops a handkerchief by mistake. It's the handkerchief that Othello gave to her as a gift. Iago's wife, Emilia, is Desdemona's maiden-servant. In this scene, we will see how Emilia finds the handkerchief.
I am glad I have found this napkin. This was her first remembrance from the moor. My wayward husband hath 100 times wooed me to steal it. Yet she so loves the token, for he conjured her she should ever keep it, that she keeps it evermore about her, to kiss and talk to. I'll have the word ta'en out and give it Iago. What he will do with it, heaven knows, not I. I nothing but to please his fantasy.
Now, what do you here alone?
Do not you chide. I have a thing for you.
You have a thing for me? It is a common thing.
Oh?
To have a foolish wife.
Oh, is that all?
Well,
What would you give me for that same handkerchief?
what handkerchief?
What handkerchief? Why, that the Moor first gave to Desdemona. That which so often you did bids me steal.
I've stolen it from her.
No faith. She let it drop by negligence, and I, being here to the advantage, took it up. Oh. Here it is.
A good wench. Give it me.
What we do with it? That you have been so earnest to have me filch it.
Why? What's that to you?
If it be not for some import, give it me again! Poor lady! She'll run mad if she shall lack it!
Be let you known on it, I have you. Go! Leave me. I will in Cassio's lodging lose this napkin and let him find it. Trifles as light as air are to the jealous confirmations as strong as proofs of holy writ. This may do something. The moor already changes with my poison. See where he comes. Not poppy, nor mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of this world shall ever medicine thee to that sweet sleep which thou owedst yesterday. Iago's poisonous insinuations completely corrupt Othello's mind, and he becomes consumed with jealous rage, accusing Desdemona publicly of infidelity, shaming her, even hitting her in public. In this scene, we see Desdemona sadly preparing for bed, assisted by her maidservant Emilia. Caroline plays the dialogue between both characters.
He has commanded me to go to bed and bade me to dismiss you, good Emilia. We must not disobey him. My love doth so approve him that even his checks, his frowns, his stubbornness, prithee, unpin me, have grace and favour. How foolish are our minds! If I do die before thee, prithee lay me in one of those same sheets. My mother had a maid called Barbary. She was in love, and he she loved proved mad and did forsake her. She had a song of Willow, an old thing 'twas, but it expressed her fortune, and she died singing it. That song tonight will not go from my mind. I have much to do but to go hang my head all at one side and sing it, like poor Barbary. The poor soul sat singing by a sycamore tree. Sing willow, willow, willow. Her hand on her bosom, her head on her knee. Sing willow, willow, willow. The fresh streams ran by her and murmured her moans. Sing all a green willow. Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stones. Sing willow, willow, willow. Nine, 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 nine. No, that's not next. Hark, who is it that knocks? It is the wind. I called my love false love, and what said he then? Sing willow, willow, willow. If I court more women, you'll couch with more men. Mine eyes do it. Does that bode weeping? I've heard it said so. Sing willow, willow, willow. Oh, these men. Dost thou, in good conscience, Emilia, think there be such women that to abuse their husbands in such such kind. There be some such, no question. Wouldst thou do such a deed for the whole world? Why would not you? No, by this heavenly light. Nor I neither by this heavenly light. I might do it as well in the dark. Would you do such a deed for the whole world? The world's a huge thing. It is a great price for a small vice. Beshrew me, if I should do such a wrong in the world. Why, the wrong is but a wrong in the world, and having the world for your favour, 'tis but a wrong in your own world, and you might quickly make it right. I don't think there is any such woman. Aye, a dozen, and as many to the vantage as would store the world they played for. But I do think it is their husbands' faults if wives do fall. Say they slack their duties, or break out in peevish jealousies. Say they strike us, and scant our former having in despite. Why, we have galls, and though we have some grace, yet have we some revenge. Let husbands know their wives have sense like them. They see and smell and have their palates both for sweet and sour as men have. What is it that they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? I think it is. And doth affection breed it? I think it doth. And have not we affections, desires for sport, and frailty as men have? Then let them use us well. Else let them know the ills we do, their ills instruct us so.
You may recall me observing earlier that I'm not black. By the same token, neither Caroline nor I are in the first flush of youth. But we didn't want to deprive you of at least one little extract of that most famous scene in that most famous play of Shakespeare's set in Italy. Two noble households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers.
Oh, gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou think'st I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay. So thou wilt woo, but else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayest think my behaviour light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst ere I was ware my true love passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon I vow that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon, which monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's dear love...
Well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease to be, ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love, by summer's ripening breath, may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night, good night. As sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank, and give it thee again. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. I hear some noise within, dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I'll come again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night. I am afeard, being in night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, and then good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honourable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
Madam!
I come anon! But if thou meanest not well, I do beseech thee.
Madam!
By and by I come! To cease thy grief, and leave me to my suit. Tomorrow will I come.
So thrive my soul.
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the worse to want thy light. Love goes toward love as schoolboys from their books, but love from love toward school with heavy looks.
Sst, Romeo. Sst. For a falconer's voice, to lure this tassel gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse, and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where echo lives, and make her airy voice more resonant with the sound of my Romeo.
'Tis my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Romeo,
My sweet,
what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
by the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then. I forgot why I did call thee back.
Let me stand here till thou remember it.
I shall forget to have thee still stand there, remembering how I love thy company.
And I'll still stay to have thee still forget, forgetting any other home but this.
It's almost morning. I'd have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird that lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silken thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
Sweet, so would I. But I would kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dwell upon thine eyes and peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace, so sweet to rest.
Thou know'st the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek. For that would I dwell on, for fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell compliment. What I have spoke, but farewell compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say I, and I will take thy word. If thou swearest, thou mayest prove false. O gentle Romeo, at lovers' perjuries pronounce it faithfully.
Oh, lady, by yonder blessed moon I vow, that tips with silver all these fruit trees.
Swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon, that changes in her circled orb, if thy love prove as she does too.
What should I swear by?
Oh, don't swear at all, or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say I, and I will take thy word. But if thou swearest, thou mayest prove false at lovers' perjuries. O gentle Montague,
O gentle Capulet,
if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Farewell. God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint, cold fear thrills through my veins that almost freezes up the heat of light. I'll call them back again to comfort me. Nurse! What should she do here? My dismal scene I needs must act alone. Come, vial. What if this mixture do not work at all? Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? No, no. This shall forbid it. Lie thou there. What if it be a poison that the friar subtly hath ministered to have me dead? Lest in this marriage he should be dishonoured because he married me before to Romeo. I fear it is, and yet methinks it should not, for he hath still been tried a holy man. How if, when I am laid into the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo comes to redeem me? There's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault, to whose foul mouth no healthsome air breathes in, and there die strangled ere my Romeo comes? Or if I live, is it not very like the terror of the night? As in a vault, an ancient receptacle where for these many hundred years the bones of my ancestors and bloody Tybalt, yet but green in his shroud, lies festering. Oh, if I wake, will there not be loathsome smells? Oh, if I wake, shall I not go mad and play with my forefathers' bones? And pluck the mangled Tybalt from his shroud. Oh, look. Methinks I see my cousin's ghost seeking out Romeo, that did spit his body upon a rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt, stay! Romeo. Romeo. Here's drink. I drink to thee.
The messages from Friar Lawrence to Romeo in exile in Mantua have failed to reach him. Romeo believes that Juliet has died, and so he returns with poison to her tomb to take his own life and be reunited with her in death. How oft when men are at the point of death have they been merry, which their keepers call a lightning before death. Oh, how may I call this a lightning? Oh, my love, my wife. Death, that hath sucked the honey of thy breath, hath had no power yet over thy beauty. Thou art not conquered. Beauty's ensign yet is crimson in thy lips and in thy cheeks, and death's pale flag is not advanced there. Oh, Tybalt, liest thou there in thy bloody sheet? Oh, what more favour can I do to thee than with that hand that cut thy youth in twain to sunder his that was thine enemy? Forgive me, cousin. Ah, dear Juliet, why art thou yet so fair? Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous, and that the lean, abhorred monster keeps thee here in dark to be his paramour? For fear of that, I still will stay with thee, and never from this palace of dim night depart again. Here will I remain, with worms that are thy chambermaids. Oh, here will I set up my everlasting rest, and shake the yoke of inauspicious stars from this world-wearied flesh. Eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace. And lips, oh you, the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Come, bitter conduct, come, unsavory guide. Thou desperate pilot, now at once run on the dashing rocks thy seasick, weary bark. Here's to my love, Oh, true apothecary. Thy drugs are quick. Thus, with a kiss, I die.
A glooming peace this morning with it brings. The sun for sorrow will not show his face. Go hence and have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be punished, and some pardoned. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
Shakespeare's most popular Italian comedy, Much Ado About Nothing, brings together those famously antagonistic lovers, Beatrice and Benedict. Having returned home safe from the wars, Don Pedro, Prince of Aragon, with his companions Claudio and Benedict, come to the house of Signor Leonato in Messina, where it becomes clear that Benedict has history with Leonato's niece, Beatrice. Sigh no more, ladies, sigh no more. Men were deceivers ever, one foot in sea and one on shore, to one thing constant never. Then sigh not so, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey, nonny, nonny.
I wonder that you still be talking, Signor Benedict. Nobody marks you.
What? My dear Lady Disdain, are you yet living?
Should Disdain die? If she have such food to feed it as Signor Benedict? Courtesy itself would convert to disdain if I should come into your presence.
Then is courtesy a turncoat, but 'tis certain I am loved of all ladies, only you excepted, and I would I could find it in my heart that I had not a hard heart, for truly I love none.
A dear happiness to women. But I am of your humour, and I thank God for that. I'd rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me.
God keep your ladyship still in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall scape a predestinate scratched face.
And 'twas such a face as yours were, it wouldn't need scratching.
Ah, well, you are a rare parrot teacher.
Bird of my tongue is better than a beast of yours.
I would my horse had the speed of your tongue, and so good a continuer. But keep your way in God's name, I have done.
Oh! You always end with a jade's trick! I know you of old.
After much scheming and machination and many upheavals of fortune, Beatrice and Benedict are brought together at last, but even at the finale, they can't quite bring themselves to acknowledge their love. Soft and fair friar, which is Beatrice?
I answer to that name. What is your will?
Do not you love me?
No. Not past reason.
Well, then your uncle and the prince and Claudio have been deceived, for they swore you did.
Do not you love me?
Truth, no. No more than reason.
Why then? My cousin, Ursula and Margaret hath been deceived, because they did swear that you did.
They swore you were almost sick for me.
They swore that you were well nigh dead for me.
But 'tis no such matter. Then you do not love me.
No. Except in friendly recompense.
Come, cousin, I am sure you love the gentleman, and I'll be sworn upon it that he loves you too, for here is a paper written in his hand, a halting sonnet of his own pure brain, fashioned unto Beatrice. And here's another paper written in my cousin's hand, stolen from her pocket, confessing her love for Benedict.
A miracle. Here's our own hands against our hearts. Oh, dear. Come, I will have thee, but by this light I take thee for pity.
I would not deny you, but by this good day I yield upon great persuasion, and partly to save your life, because I heard that you were in a consumption.
Peace. I will stop your mouth.
No!
Sigh no more, ladies, sigh no more. Men were deceivers ever. One foot in sea and one on shore, to one thing constant never. Then sigh not so, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey nonny nonny. Sing no more ditties, sing no more of dance so dull and heavy. The fraud of men was ever so, since summer first was leafy. Then sigh not so, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey nonny nonny. Nine 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 nine. Then sigh not so, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey nonny nonny.